Some folks still think all black communities in America look, sound, and live the same. Same music, same food, same vibes, right? Wrong. That's like saying every slice of pizza tastes the same just because it's got cheese on it. In this video, 10 states with the most diverse black communities in America, we're diving deep into places where black heritage isn't just one note, it's a whole symphony. We're talking about U.S. states where racial diversity within black communities in America defies the stereotypes and challenges the single-story narrative. These aren't just places with a high black population by state, they're cultural ecosystems where black people identify as Afro-Caribbean, Afro-Latino, African-American, multiracial, and more. Think cultural mashups that could make a DNA test go, "Whoa, let me sit down for this one." This is more than just a top 10 list. It's a reminder that black communities in America are as layered and multidimensional as the country itself. And just wait until you see which states made the list. It's not what you're expecting. Stick around, hit that like button, subscribe to Virtual Travel by Brian, and let's get into this. Number 10. Nevada. Who knew the Mojave Desert had room for a cultural remix? Nevada isn't just slot machines and Elvis impersonators. It's quietly building one of the fastest-growing and most diverse black communities in the country. And no, we're not talking about just transplants from California trying to escape the rent monster. We're talking about layers: Afro-Caribbean, Black Hispanic, multiracial Black, and African-American communities all woven into the neon fabric of this state. Since 2010, Nevada's black population has increased by nearly 60%, making it one of the fastest-growing black populations in the U.S., according to the Pew Research Center. That's not just growth, that's a full-on demographic explosion. And it's not just about the numbers, it's about the range of identities. From black tech professionals flooding into Reno to Afro-Caribbean families bringing flavor and rhythm to suburban Henderson, Nevada, the black identity is expanding in every direction. But here's where it gets interesting. Nevada isn't historically known for black cultural legacy. So how does a state with no real black mecca suddenly become a cultural gumbo? Well, when folks are priced out of California and tired of the cold in the Midwest, they land in places like Vegas, not just for the entertainment, but for economic opportunity, entrepreneurial freedom, and the chance to build something new from scratch. Is it perfect? Nope. But you'll find Somali-run businesses in North Las Vegas, Ghanaian churches next to taco joints, and multiracial black Gen Zers who know just as much about K-pop as they do about Kendrick. It's not your grandma's idea of a black community. And maybe that's exactly the point. Now, consider this. When we discuss diverse black communities, are we giving enough attention to the places that are building new legacies rather than preserving old ones? Can a state with little historical black footprint evolve into a true cultural hub? Nevada's betting big on it. So, if you're looking for a state where the definition of black isn't boxed in, but constantly evolving, Nevada might just surprise you. And don't be fooled by the desert. This state's got more layers than a Vegas showgirl's wardrobe change. Number 9. Maryland. Think one-size-fits-all? Black culture lives here? Not even close. Maryland boasts one of America's most diverse black communities. Old-school roots, new-school passports, and enough cultural mashups to make your playlist a mix of the best kind. Start with size. Roughly 1/3 of residents identify as black, placing Maryland near the top nationally in terms of share. Now zoom in on Prince George's County, which has long been a bellwether for black wealth. Median household income just cleared $100,000 recently. Proof that middle-class and upper-middle-class black life is not some myth, it's a mailing address. But here's the twist. PG's prosperity has been intertwined with federal employment, and recent federal cuts rattled that foundation, reminding everyone that stable doesn't mean guaranteed. When good-paying public sector jobs wobble, so does local wealth. Are we building diverse black prosperity that can withstand policy earthquakes? Diversity isn't just dollars, it's diaspora. Maryland ranks among the nation's hubs for African-born communities. The state hosts one of the largest Nigerian populations in the country, and alongside Virginia, the nation's highest shares of Ethiopian origin. Real communities with churches, businesses, and festivals that turn weekends into geography lessons. And Maryland sits within a wider DC metro corridor where Nigerian migration is evident. PG County itself holds one of the region's highest shares of Nigerian-born residents among the foreign-born population. How does that reshape food, politics, and schooling for the next generation? Add in Black immigrants from the Caribbean, Jamaica and Haiti top nationwide origins, and you get a state where patty shops and jollof cook-offs can share the same block without beef. Unless it's in the stew. Nationally, about 1 in 10 Black people are immigrants, and 1 in 5 are either immigrants or children of immigrants. Trends you can feel on Maryland's streets. Does your picture of African American include all these accents and ancestries yet? Here's the real question for you. When a place blends long-standing African American neighborhoods with fast-growing African and Caribbean diasporas, does diversity go far enough as a word? Or are we watching a new cultural engine, one that produces different politics, different businesses, and different definitions of community power? Maryland doesn't fit an old script. It writes its own, equal parts Black legacy and global Black future. Number 8. New Jersey. Don't let New Jersey's size fool you. This little powerhouse punches way above its weight when it comes to Black diversity. You thought Jersey was just about diners, boardwalks, and Bruce Springsteen? Nah. Try Haitian churches in Irvington, Nigerian-owned businesses in Newark, and Dominican communities in Paterson. This state is a cultural mixtape, and every track hits different. New Jersey is home to over 1.5 million Black residents, and here's the kicker. It ranks among the top 5 states with the most significant Black Hispanic populations in the U.S., according to the Pew Research Center. That means if you thought Black identity was only tied to Southern roots or Harlem Renaissance nostalgia, New Jersey is here to blow that narrative wide open. So what does that look like in practice? You'll hear Spanish with a Caribbean rhythm, spoken fluently in neighborhoods where residents also celebrate Juneteenth. You'll see Puerto Rican flags next to Pan-African banners. And in some homes, people switch between Creole, English, Spanish, and Yoruba before breakfast. It's not just an East Coast version of melting pot diversity. It's more like a stew, thick with flavor, where everyone brings their own ingredients and still somehow eats from the same pot. And it doesn't stop at language or heritage. There's political diversity, too. Jersey's urban Black populations often lean progressive, but suburban and immigrant Black communities sometimes trend moderate or even conservative. Ever wondered how that plays out in local elections? It's a political DJ battle with no clear winner. The education system also reflects this diversity. Cities like East Orange and Trenton are seeing an increase in second-generation Afro-Caribbean and African-American students sharing classrooms, sometimes with very different cultural frameworks, but with shared goals. That raises the question, how do we make space for all Black identities to be heard in the same room? Even economically, the picture is nuanced. While New Jersey is among the wealthiest states overall, its racial wealth gap is real, and more diverse Black communities mean more complex solutions are needed. A one-size-fits-all policy doesn't work here. New Jersey might not get the flashy attention of its neighbors, but when it comes to Black diversity, it's a heavyweight contender. So the next time you overlook the Garden State, remember, it might be small on the map, but it's massive when it comes to what Black America really looks like. Number 7. Ohio. Ohio doesn't usually make the headlines when discussing diverse Black communities, but maybe that's the problem. While the East Coast and Deep South hog the spotlight, the Buckeye State has been quietly building one of the most diverse Black populations in the Midwest. And no, it's not just about Cleveland's legacy or Columbus's growth. We're talking real cultural mashups that'll make you double-check if you're still in the Midwest or wandered into a Pan-African conference by mistake. First off, Ohio ranks among the top 5 states for the non-Hispanic, multiracial Black population, according to the Pew Research Center. That means more and more Ohioans are identifying with multiple racial backgrounds, and that complexity is shaping how younger generations see themselves, their families, and their futures. But the story doesn't stop there. The African immigrant population in Ohio, especially Somalis, Nigerians, and Ghanaians, has experienced steady growth, particularly in cities such as Columbus. And yes, Columbus isn't just the home of Ohio State, it's also home to one of the largest Somali communities in the entire United States. We're talking about mosques, markets, restaurants, and schools that center on East African traditions right in the heart of the American heartland. Now, what happens when that mixes with long-established African American communities in places like Cincinnati, Dayton, and Toledo? You get a state where Juneteenth is celebrated with barbecue and spoken-word poetry in one town, and with traditional dance, halal food, and Amharic music in another. Have you ever attended a Ghanaian wedding on Saturday and a Baptist gospel brunch on Sunday, all within a 5-block radius? Welcome to Ohio, and let's talk about that younger generation. Gen Z and millennials in Ohio are leading a shift in how Black identity is expressed. It's digital, it's multiracial, it's intersectional, and it's political in a way that doesn't always follow party lines. These are the kids whose playlists jump from Burna Boy to J. Cole to Bad Bunny, and they're voting, creating businesses, and reshaping what it means to be Black in America from a flyover state. So here's a question. Why do we keep overlooking places like Ohio when they're becoming ground zero for the next wave of Black identity in the US? Just because it's not being loudly discussed doesn't mean it's not happening. Number 6. North Carolina. North Carolina isn't just sweet tea and college basketball. It's a cultural pressure cooker where history, heritage, and immigration collide in fascinating ways. You want to talk about diverse Black communities? This state's been marinating in it for centuries, and now it's serving up something bold, complex, and totally unexpected. Here's what makes North Carolina stand out. It's one of the top 5 states for the non-Hispanic single-race Black population, according to Pew Research. That means there's deep generational presence here. Folks whose families go back to the Reconstruction era and beyond. We're talking HBCU legacies, freedom towns, and neighborhoods where elders can still point to the land their great-grandparents farmed after emancipation. But don't get it twisted. This isn't just the Old South rebranded. Over the last 2 decades, North Carolina has experienced one of the most significant influxes of Black migrants, both from other states and internationally. African immigrants, Afro-Caribbean families, Afro-Latinos, you name it. The state's Black population jumped from about 1.5 million in 2000 to nearly 2.4 million by 2023. That's not just growth, that's transformation. So what happens when you blend deep Southern Black culture with newer waves of diversity? You get a community that's as likely to host a fish fry as it is a Nigerian naming ceremony. You'll see barbershops that play gospel in the morning and Afrobeats in the afternoon. And the food? Let's just say you haven't really lived until you've had oxtail beside collard greens with a side of plantains. Charlotte and Raleigh are leading the charge, becoming magnets for educated Black professionals and immigrant families alike. Tech, banking, and healthcare jobs have created opportunities, and with them, a melting pot of traditions. There are Black tech startups where you'll hear multiple accents around the table. There are community centers where Gullah storytellers sit side by side with first-generation Haitian kids learning Creole and coding. But here's the thing. Diversity doesn't always mean harmony. There are tensions, too. What does it mean to be Black in North Carolina when your neighbor speaks patois and your kid's best friend is biracial and bilingual? How do communities preserve their distinct histories while building something collective? North Carolina is still figuring that out, but in the process, it's redefining what Black America looks like, especially in the South. And that, my friends, is worth watching. We're halfway through the countdown. If you are enjoying the video so far, hit the like button, subscribe to Virtual Travel by Brian, and ring the notification bell for more informative content. Let's get back into it. Number 5. Florida. Florida is not just theme parks, gators, and hurricane season. It's one of the most culturally explosive states when it comes to Black diversity. Like, blow your expectations out of the water explosive. You're not walking into one community here. You're stepping into a swirling galaxy of cultures that all proudly fall under the umbrella of Black. Florida is home to over 3.8 million Black residents, making it one of the top 3 states in terms of Black population size, according to the Pew Research Center. But what makes Florida different isn't just the number of Black people living there. It's who they are. This is where Afro-Caribbeans, Black Hispanics, African Americans, biracial and multiracial Black folks, and African immigrants collide and create something you can't find anywhere else in the country. Need proof? Take a stroll through Miami. You'll hear Haitian Creole, Spanish, Jamaican Patois, and American English in the same block, sometimes in the same sentence. Little Haiti pulses with color and rhythm, while Liberty City holds down a legacy of African American resilience. And over in Broward County, the Caribbean influence is so thick you'd think you accidentally landed in Kingston or Port-au-Prince. In fact, Florida has one of the largest Black Hispanic populations in the country. Over 1 million Black Latinos call the state home. That's a fact, not a guess. And here's the wild part. This demographic is still growing. As migration from places like the Dominican Republic, Honduras, Panama, and Venezuela continues, the concept of Blackness here stretches, bends, and redefines itself in real time. But this isn't just about language or food. It's about identity. And sometimes, identity conflict. How do Afro-Latinos navigate being both Black and Latino in a country that often tries to make them choose? What does it mean to be a first-gen Haitian American growing up in a state with Confederate flags in some counties and carnival celebrations in others? Then there's the younger generation. Gen Z Floridians are blending all of this together, repping both their island heritage and their Southern Black roots. They proudly wear dashikis one day, reggaeton, drip the next, and vote for policies that reflect all their experiences. So when people say Black America, are they picturing Florida's version? They should be, because down here, diversity isn't a buzzword. It's a lifestyle. Number 4, New York. New York doesn't just do diversity, it defines it. Have you thought you've seen a multicultural Black community before? Step foot in the Empire State, and suddenly the word diverse feels limited. Here, Black isn't just a race, it's an entire ecosystem of languages, flags, and stories that'll make your ancestry test short-circuit. With nearly 3.8 million Black residents, New York ranks among the top tier nationally in terms of population, according to the Pew Research Center. But here's where it really flexes. It has one of the largest Black Hispanic populations in the entire United States. That includes Afro-Dominicans, Afro-Puerto Ricans, Afro-Colombians, and more, each bringing their own flavor to what it means to be Black in America. In Brooklyn, you can hit a block party that starts with soca, switches to drill rap, and closes with Afrobeat, all while people eat jerk chicken, pastelitos, and fufu out of the same shared food truck park. Harlem? Still rich in African-American culture, but now home to a thriving Senegalese and Malian presence. And don't even get started on the Bronx. Dominicans, Jamaicans, Ghanaians, Haitians, and African Americans are all woven into the concrete heartbeat of the borough. New York's Black immigrant population is massive, and its impact is generational. Children of immigrants are now redefining every aspect of Black American life here. Music, politics, food, fashion, and entrepreneurship. You've got Haitian American city council members, Nigerian-owned tech firms in Queens, and Dominican DJs spinning Afrobeats like it's the Bronx's national anthem. But with all this brilliance comes complexity. In a city known for its fast pace and high cost of living, not every group has equal access to resources. Black communities in NYC face deep income gaps, especially when comparing foreign-born versus native-born, English-speaking versus not, and Afro-Caribbean versus African-American. So what happens when you have incredible diversity and systemic inequality in the same neighborhood? That's the New York paradox. It's both a celebration and a challenge. This state forces us to ask, can diverse Black communities thrive together when they're often navigating very different struggles? Still, there's no place like it. The range of Black identity in New York is unmatched. From Flatbush to the Finger Lakes, Black folks here are living 1,000 stories, and each one deserves the mic. Number 3. Georgia. You think Georgia is just soul food, church hats, and a little outcast nostalgia? Oh no. Georgia is cooking up something way more layered than your grandma's sweet potato pie. The state has always been a cornerstone of Black American culture, but what you might not know is that it's now also one of the most diverse Black communities in the country. Atlanta might still be the heartbeat, but now it's pulsing with rhythms from Lagos, Kingston, Accra, and even Santo Domingo. With a black population of around 3.6 million, roughly 34% of the entire state, Georgia ranks among the top states not only by numbers, but also by the diversity of its black population. According to the Pew Research Center, it has one of the largest non-Hispanic single-race black populations in the U.S. But that's just the base layer. The real magic? It's in the rising presence of African immigrants, Black Hispanics, Afro-Caribbeans, and multiracial Black Georgians. Atlanta has become a global hub for Black culture in its own right. One moment, you're in a Nigerian-owned real estate office in Buckhead. The next, you're grabbing Haitian griot in Clarkston and getting your hair braided by a first-gen Ghanaian stylist in Decatur, all before heading to a trap music museum downtown. Talk about range. Georgia's diversity is demographic and economic. The state boasts one of the highest rates of Black entrepreneurship in the country. From Haitian food trucks to Nigerian fintech startups to African-American-led production companies in Tyler Perry's orbit, this place is proof that the South isn't just surviving, it's scaling. And yes, the kids are all right. Black Gen Zers in Georgia are rewriting the identity game completely. They're blending Caribbean traditions with Southern swagger, or Afrobeat dance challenges with civil rights legacies, and creating content that gets millions of views while also quoting bell hooks. Have you ever seen a Morehouse student twerk in kente cloth at a voter registration drive? Welcome to Georgia. But in all honesty, diversity also brings growing pains. Not all communities feel equally represented or resourced. Tensions bubble between long-established African-American communities and newer immigrant groups navigating their place in the South's pecking order. And in a state with constant political tug-of-war, that complexity plays out in real time at the ballot box. Still, Georgia's Black community is no monolith. It's a whole movement. Historic, global, fresh, complicated, and beautifully chaotic. And it's setting the pace for what Black identity in America will look like in the next decade. Number 2, California. California might be famous for its beaches, tech bros, and avocado toast, but when it comes to Black diversity, this state is doing the absolute most. And not in a subtle way. We're talking layered, multilingual, intercontinental-level diversity with a side of kombucha and kale, because it's still California. Let's start with the numbers. California is home to over 2.8 million Black residents, according to the Pew Research Center. That's not the largest total in the nation, but here's what makes it stand out. It ranks number 1 for the non-Hispanic, multiracial Black population in the U.S. In other words, California is where the "I'm Black but also" conversation happens in almost every other household. And those identities aren't fringe, they're the foundation. In LA, you have Afro-Latinos from Honduras living next to Black Japanese creatives from Oakland, whose kids attend school with Eritrean-American twins who are fluent in both Tigrinya and TikTok. This isn't hypothetical, it's everyday life. Have you ever been to Leimert Park on a Sunday? It's like the United Nations for melanin, music, and messages from the ancestors. Then there's the Bay Area, where Black tech engineers are coding alongside Afro-Caribbean chefs, opening plant-based food trucks. Oakland has a rich Black Panther history, but now it also boasts Ghanaian dance studios and multiracial poetry slams. You might walk into a Juneteenth celebration and hear everything from Kendrick to Celia Cruz to Burna Boy, and no one bats an eye. Let's not forget the Black Hispanic population, which is thriving in places like Southern California. From Afro-Mexicans reclaiming their heritage, to Afro-Dominicans bringing bachata and activism to the streets of LA, California's flavor is bold and unapologetically fusion. So when someone says Black and brown, here, it's often the same person. But California isn't a utopia. The cost of living is astronomical, gentrification is real, and many historically Black neighborhoods, like in San Francisco and Compton, have seen deep displacement. So while cultural diversity thrives, the battle for space, equity, and representation is far from over. Still, California is the blueprint for what a fluid, evolving Black identity can look like. It's progressive, messy, intersectional, and full of contradictions, just like the best parts of America. Number 1, Texas. Texas doesn't whisper, it shouts. And when it comes to Black diversity, this state is standing on the table, waving a giant flag that says, "You have no idea how deep this goes." Welcome to the most culturally expansive Black community in America, where the identities are just as sprawling as the state lines. With nearly 3.95 million black residents, Texas now holds the title for the largest black population in the United States, according to the Pew Research Center. But here's the kicker. It's not just big, it's diverse in every direction. From African Americans with roots 5 generations deep in East Texas, to booming immigrant enclaves in Dallas, Houston, and Austin, the black community here is a diverse and vibrant universe. Start with Houston, a city so culturally rich it should have its own international passport. Nigerian Americans? One of the largest populations in the country. Ethiopian restaurants and Somali markets, all within a 5-mile radius. Haitian nurses, Ghanaian engineers, Afro-Latino creatives, they're not just part of the background, they run things. Dallas, same story. It's become a magnet for Afro-Caribbean professionals and multiracial families leaving coastal cities in search of opportunity and cheaper real estate, let's be honest. You'll find second-gen Liberian-American kids mixing Southern slang with West African proverbs, like it's no big deal. In Austin, the growing black tech community is making waves, even as the city continues to grapple with maintaining visibility for black culture in its gentrifying core. Texas also has one of the fastest-growing multiracial black populations, according to a report by Pew. That means more people here are proudly saying, "I'm black and something else," and raising kids who know how to navigate all the in-betweens. It's a new generation redefining blackness as something multi-layered, multilingual, and multi-everything. But don't get it twisted, this isn't some fairy tale. Texas is still battling racial inequality, voter suppression laws, education gaps, and the lingering scent of "don't mess with Texas politics." But even in that mess, black Texans are building, thriving, and showing the rest of the country how expansive black identity can truly be. So when we talk about black communities in America, why do we still imagine just one version? Texas proves there's no such thing. Now here's your challenge. Which of these states flipped your assumptions on their head? Which one surprised you the most? Please drop your answer in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another deep dive from Virtual Travel by Brian. This is more than travel, it's truth with a passport.